Seth, you can start. Go ahead.
Thank you. Guys, congrats on the win. Both of you, give us a lowdown on what you think happened and what does this mean for the team going forward?
Just to start defensively, I think we played an outstanding game today. I think, as a team, though, I think we played really great in the first half. And the second half, we got to clean some stuff up. But, it was great to get our first win at home, and I'm just really proud of the guys.
Yeah, kind of what he hit on. In the first half, I was very pleased with the offense. We score all of our drive spots won. We can't have a turnover. We'll learn from that. But then in the second half, we got to be better. We can't take the foot off the gas, because going on in the future, if we do that, then the team can sneak back in. We just need to play really good football all 4 quarters, but the defense played phenomenal, and that's what really helped us win today.
What do you think happened in the second half with the offense?
I think we just got content and comfortable. We were up 24-0, which is a positive, but you'd like to score or end every drive with points, and once we got to 24, we didn't do that.
Good. As far as the defense, my final question, as far as the defense, I thought a pretty outstanding game. How were you able to contain them?
We just saw on film that they were kind of rotating quarterbacks, trying to figure out who they wanted to go with, and we knew they had some pretty good running backs, and their offensive line was pretty good, so we just had to make sure we could stop the run and kind of hold them to one-dimensional throwing the ball, because it's not something they do very well. But we just played really good complementary football on defense. Everybody was making the plays.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Ken.
Ken Kreitzer, Camcast Media. Start with Caleb. Just defense is making plays. How important again was it to stop their first possession? Jack Bosom made a pressure that forced the punt.
That's not something we've done much this year. Is stop a team on their first drive. So that was great to stop them on the first drive. And like I said, it was outstanding seeing everybody at every position making their plays. And Jack Bosom and that D-line group as a whole played a really good game.
And also, right at the end of the second quarter, Eric Ford had a sack, which again forced a punt. How important was it just you were able to stop their fourth down plays and also force them to punt?
Yeah, I think it's important to give the ball back to the offense and let them take control of the time of possession, and then also just put their defense back out and let them get beat up and battered. So Ford made a really good play, and then our D lineman had 2 really good plays down there, forcing the punt, and we just did that quite a bit today.
Great, congratulations. Cale, maybe talk about in the first quarter, you had a 50-yard run. You're on the left sideline, you cut across the field, you're running for the pylon, and you just missed it. You got to the 1-yard line, you scored on the next play. Just tell us about that sequence.
Yeah, leading up to that, we were moving the ball well on the ground. Coach really had a phenomenal play call. We ran counter, and the defense bid on it, so we got great leverage. And guard and tackle pulled, and Teddy Williams made a phenomenal block. I cut off of it, and then I just tried to push to get in the end zone, but I got caught. Gotta get faster, I guess.
And Cale, maybe just tell us about your 44-yard pass to Noah Short. It was a 4th and goal. Then you got at 4th and goal at the 1, and you scored on the 1-yard run. Tell us about that sequence.
Yeah, that drive, the fact that we ended a touchdown was huge. We got behind the chains was. We don't need to do that. Getting 3rd and long is not the type of offense that we want to see. But we had to dial up a good play, installed that play today, and Noah ran a great route and got separation, and I was able to complete the pass. And then ultimately, scoring on that drive, coming from 3rd and 9 from the 50, and then being able to put 7 or 6 points in the end zone, that was huge.
I got to ask you just the last question. To go 14-0 up, you had a 17-yard 17-play drive, 10:51, 85 yards. You had 6 different ball carriers. Carson Smith scores. You had 40 yards on the drive. Just tell us about what it was like to keep that momentum and rhythm going.
Yeah, that was huge. That's Army football right there. That's Black Flag. That's Army's offense, and that type of drive is we need to put those together all the time. That's huge. We allowed the defense to get rest on the sideline. And having guys that we have the capability of, like you said, 6 people running the ball. A lot of teams don't have that. We have that, and it's huge, and we rely on it. The O-line, that's the engine to our offense, and we were able to run behind them, and they're what kick-started that drive, and it was Army football.
Thank you.
Anyone else here?
Right here.
Go ahead.
Cale, was there any point in the game where you felt like you guys had a solid lead over Charlotte today?
Oh yes, sir, for sure. Going into halftime 17-0 is a great feeling. We wanted to score on that first drive, we didn't, but once the team got to stop early, and then we were able to score, go up 24-0, and that was a great feeling.
Sure.
Go ahead, Sal.
Cale, how much was the game plan centered around imposing your will on offense? Because it seems like you were ready and willing to grind out drives today.
Yeah, I think, I was hit on this earlier, me and Deeple, we both do a great job of, practicing and practicing as if it's a game and putting ourselves in game situations. It wasn't until Friday that I was got told by Coach Roy that I was going to be the guy. But it's all practice. There's peace and preparation. And when you practice as if you're a game, when your numbers call, it's good. Coach Roy likes to run the quarterback. We have great D-backs that can run the ball or block. We have great offensive line, and when we're getting 5 to 6 yards of carry, it's just why not? Keep going.
Anyone else here? We'll go to Zoom. Joey Akano, go ahead.
Hey guys, congratulations on the win. Caleb, first question for you. Looked like today was the most pressure you guys have gotten on opposing quarterbacks all season. The pressure was there on almost every pass play, and then it kind of complemented really well your short yardage run defense and all the turnovers on downs you guys caused. Talk a little bit about the pressure you were able to apply today. And the play of the front seven, specifically the defensive line, I thought definitely had their best game of the season.
Without a doubt, Joe, I think the defensive line did a phenomenal job of getting the quarterback off his spot and just causing some hurry ups and pressure. And backers blitzing 2 men in ahead, getting the quarterback off his spot. It was just a great job in the box, and it's something we got to continue to do moving forward to be successful in defense.
Thanks, Caleb. And last question for Cale. On the other side, somebody mentioned it, Army kind of dominated in the trenches a lot of the day, specifically the mob in the first half. Not to single anyone out because all 5 of them in the tight ends were all blocking great, but Teddy Williams had a couple pancakes, big block on your counter play, which kind of sprung you. Talk a little bit about the O-line's play specifically in the first half.
Yeah, man, those are my guys, and like I said, every time they're the engine to our offense. They're phenomenal. Last year they got voted the best O-line in the country, and I wouldn't put it past them this year as well. Those guys, all 5 of them are incredible. Our tight ends are incredible, and they just impose their will. And when they're moving the D line, creating a new line of scrimmage 4 or 3 yards off the ball, it's an awesome feeling. I love running behind each and every one of them, and they're awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Ken McMillan.
Cale, could you talk about the efforts of Carson Smith and Briggs Bartosh, what they offered today?
Yeah, those guys are great, and for weeks on end now they've been playing excellent. They've stepped up, and they're great with the ball in their hands. But what's impressive is how they play without the ball in their hands. I don't think we'd be able to rush for 300 yards in a game if it weren't for how our B-backs block. They pick up key blocks each and every play, and then when they do get the ball in their hand, they run hard. Very rarely will you see one guy be able to bring any of them down, and it's just awesome. We pride ourselves in running the ball, and we pride ourselves in blocking. And when you see skilled players get physical and dirty, and kind of like an O-line mentality, it's awesome to see.
Cale, can I ask you on your 50-yard run, did you get tired at the end?
Yeah, for sure. I got tired, and then Coach Roy was in my ear yelling to get back on the ball because we knew we were going to run it down the throat.
And Cale, how important is it to not only get the win, but the nature of the win heading into the Tulane matchup?
I think it's good momentum, and it's really good going to a tough game as Tulane's going to be a really hard one for us with the win, and I think it's going to be a really hard week of practice and good preparation in order for us to compete against Tulane, and it's just awesome to finally get our first win at home.
Thank you.
Mr. Guzman, do you have a question?
Caleb, how do you set the tone as captain of the team?
Man, that's a loaded question, big dog. I think it's important to know that everybody's got to execute and make their plays when it comes to them, but also just knowing that they don't just do it for themselves, but they do it for the person beside them, because that's ultimately what it's about when you play here at Army. Good question, big dog.
Cool. You guys are all set. Thank
Thanks,
you.
man.